So, folks, gotta talk about this a little bit. Republicans are trying to destroy the institution of marriage. I know, it's shocking. They consider themselves defenders of marriage, but they're actually, right now, spearheading a case to try and destroy the institution of marriage. And it's disturbing. All of this is coming from a woman named Kim Davis, who about 10 years ago said that she would not, in fact, issue marriage licenses to married couples because it violated her religious beliefs. She was but a simple county clerk, but she said, nope, it is my religious belief that these people should not be married, and therefore I will not allow them to have marriage licenses. And again, it might maybe surprise you to find that the reason she didn't think that these people deserved to be able to get married is because they were gay. She religiously opposed to their marriage because they were they were men. And what's interesting about that is, again, where do you draw the line for that? Do you draw the line for people who got married at a mosque? A synagogue? Do you not validate the marriages?
It's been a hot minute, and yeah, the times are trying. Time to bring on the BWA.
Hell yeah, Ashley J. Curtis. Thank you for the 5 Tier 1 subs, and thank you for helping to invent the internet. Really, really appreciate you. Thank you so goddamn much. But where do you draw the line? Because, again, she's coming at it from a very Christian worldview. And that Christian worldview is essentially that the only real marriages are marriages before God. But specifically the Christian God. So, do marriages not performed by some kind of Christian priest count? What sorts of denominations are real Christians? Also worth noting that Christians would refuse to marry couples who were of different racial backgrounds once upon a time based on their religious beliefs. So, for a whole host of reasons, it does not make sense to give a clerk the ability to unilaterally deny issuing a marriage license to a couple, right? We don't live in a theocracy. We don't have a state religion. To say that one person should be able to dictate whether or not people get married is ridiculous. The only person who should be able to dictate who gets married is obviously Chapel Rowan. And without her input, of course, it's between the two people who in question who are getting married. And one of the things that I gotta throw out there is her argument is that her free speech rights were violated, right? Because she was forced to marry these people. And that's not how it works if you're like a government employee. You are a manifestation of the state as an employee of the government, meaning that what you do is what the government does. And therefore, you are bound to treat citizens as the government is bound to treat citizens. Not by what you, the individual citizen, want to do. But in a disturbing turn, and I'm just going to bring this up from ABC News here. More fundamentally, she claims the High Court's decision in Obergefell v. Hodges extends marriage rights for same-sex couples under the 14th Amendment's due process protections was egregiously wrong. The mistake must be corrected, wrote Davis's attorney Matthew Staver in the petition. He calls Justice Anthony Kennedy's majority opinion in Obergefell legal fiction. Now, I do want to point out that one of the reasons that Kim Davis has continued to fight this for the past decade is because, well, a jury said that she needed to award the couple that was affected by her actions $100,000. And she also had to pay $260,000 for attorney fees. And she's not very happy about that. So she's been fighting this for years now, all the way up to the Supreme Court. And the reason it's had to go all the way up to the Supreme Court is because time after time after time, she keeps getting knocked down because there's no merit to her case. Here's an example. Lower courts have dismissed Davis's claims, and most legal experts consider her bid a long shot. A federal appeals court panel concluded earlier this year that the former clerk cannot raise the First Amendment as a defense because she is being held liable for state action, which the First Amendment does not protect. So, yeah, turns out if you are acting on behalf of the state, you don't in fact have First Amendment protections to say, no, I'm not going to do something that the state is mandated to do. So, this is scary, especially with this particular Supreme Court. Not gonna lie. That being said, it is unlikely to gain much traction with the court. So, this is a petition. It does not necessarily mean that it is going to be taken up by the court. It's merely that someone has formally asked the court to take it up. And it also doesn't seem likely that the court is going to overturn it, given the makeup of the court. There are two firm believers on the Supreme Court right now in the fascist state building project. But, it's still scary, you know? Amy Coney Barrett, surprisingly, has indicated that she does not want to take up this issue. Brett Kavanaugh, again, somewhat surprisingly, has indicated he doesn't want to take up this issue. And I even believe Neil Gorsuch has weirdly had a somewhat decent track record when it comes to LGBTQ issues. Yeah, Alito and Thomas are fascists to the core, you know. But I would say it is worth being nervous about this. It's worth paying attention to this. I would caution you against like having a complete breakdown, because I know for a lot of LGBTQ people, like, this is scary. It's scary as hell. And so I'm trying to say that, like, while this is bad, it is not quite as bad as it could be, at least on this particular issue. And also, you have to keep in mind, it would be a colossal pain in the ass for them to try and undo this. It'd be a colossal pain in the ass. So, scary? Yes. An imminent threat? Not necessarily. But I'll keep paying attention to this and let you know if things take a turn for the worse. My big fear is that someone bigger than her is going to use her case to roll back Obergefell. Yeah, but again, in order to roll back Obergefell, one would need the Supreme Court to take up this case in the first place, and I don't think they're going to do that. So, yeah. Anyway, I hope that that all cleared up my thoughts on this. Yeah, and it is somewhat worrying. I'll just add that the Republican moment has been so effective at lowering support for LGBTQ rights over the last 4 years. I think back in 2020, like, support overall was at like 70%. Now it's down to 60% overall. And among Republicans, it went from being like 55% to like 40%. It's not great, you know? But I do think it is still popular enough, and it is still entrenched. It is now entrenched enough in the bureaucratic processes of this country that I think it will cause even some of the more conservative members of the court to balk at trying to overturn that.
My religion has gay marriage. Saying that we have to renounce our rights and beliefs is the opposite of freedom of religion.
Indeed. You are 100% correct, Nomi Sunrider. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Appreciated. never stopped Republicans from doing extremely unpopular things before. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. This is just my take. It's just my take. Is marriage equality different from Roe because this is not viewed as morally gray to normies? It's clear cut that marriage equality is about two adults. I mean, it's different from Roe in a sense. Militant gays? More like militant everyone, you know?
Riverboat Jack is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, dating, plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and